Now, welcome to Blasphemous. Is it more pronounced blasphemous? Well, any case, it's a Metroidvania side-scroller game from Spain with very hardcore and stylish visual style, and it's also ruthlessly difficult. And I actually have gone through it at least once because this game is absolutely lacking mercy because it's all about having a penitence. So let's just show how this pilgrimage actually goes.
Because it is my guilt, I claim your grievous miracle. Make my chest hurt with regret. Forge your punishment and nail it deep. Shake my guilt once again.
And thus, guilt, repentance, mourning, and every pain of the soul of all kind were visibly and tangibly manifested everywhere and in all of us. Sometimes in the form of blessing and grace, sometime in the form of punishment and corruption. That divine will, equally pious and cruel, which we could not and will never be able to unravel, was called the miracle.
And so the game begins. From a death pile of corpses. Who were all part of Brotherhood of Silent Sorrow. And they were ordered to be killed, all of them. And this one nameless person, who we, by supplementary material known as male, was one of them. Because for some reason, he had taken mea culpa, which is Latin for my guilt. And there was a prophecy that very important and powerful person would be killed by one of members of Brotherhood of Silent Sorrow, and would use the mea culpa to do it. So of course that would be prevented. But it doesn't seem to have worked, for one member still lives, and he will never speak, for he's one of the silent ones. And this phase is basically just a game's physical tutorial. It shows the basic movements, you can show how it moves, those red dots are moving part, but even from now you can see that the visual style is nothing short of unique and magnificent. paid you. And this is basically a save point, but they can be made more powerful. And yes, and the character's name is unknown, but his title is the penitent one, for he's on the way to penitence. And more of his siblings. And there's a warden of silent sorrow to be slain. And interestingly enough, or frighteningly enough, sword the penitent one wields is not at all ergonomic. It's designed to be unpleasant, and its handle is unpleasant, unwieldy, and uncomfortable to wield. So even wielding it is an act of penance. And the whole game is a huge travel for it. It was the first boss and a first enemy as well. Rest in peace. And it was a blood sacrifice to anoint himself for the penitence. Or for penance, I don't know how the exact word is. And there's a mark that you need keys, all kinds of nonsense. And the imagery of this game is very much based on Spanish Catholicism. But it's distilled and amplified.
The anguish of the eldest brother has now come to an end. I am Deo Gracias, witness to and narrator of the acts of the grievous miracle. Such is my penance, as yours is silence. The cradle of affliction is what you seek. This can be found in the mother of mothers of the churches. It is a remote place separated from the rest of these lands by a great sacred and forbidden door. Even a wise penitent like me knows nothing of what lies beyond those high walls. However, what I do know is that, according to the rule, one must carry out the 3 humiliations to gain access to what they guard. One of them must be performed in the high mountains, covered in thick blankets of snow and ice. Another in the depths of a dark, entombed church where the sleeper lies. And the last one at the end of the trail, carved by moans that claw their way out of an iron spiral, in the bowels of the bell named Hondo that grows into the earth. Take this thorn and place it on the handle of your sword. If, when the time comes, as you grip your weapon firmly, you notice that it wounds you and makes you bleed, having grown, with more thorns sprouting from it, writhing over the figure of the Father carved into the knob, that will mean that you are at the mercy of the grievous miracle, whether for its punishment or its forgiveness.
And Deocassius means mercy of God.
Even a wise penitent, however,
Yeah,
what
he
else
tells
sorrowful-
all the stuff, and here's the thorn. And the game does actually give you quite big, long written inscriptions about it, which are all follow the styling of extreme hardcore Christianity of Spanish Catholicism. There's suffering, there's torment, there's pain, and there's also unpredictable, whimsical power. Yeah, there's parry. And yeah. And Penitent one can also deliver some nasty finishing moves to his enemies. And now doing this review, short let's play of this game, I do say that this is one of the few games which actually manages to handle matters of faith and religion in any kind of, you could say, style. Yeah, and Penitent 1 can use prayers, which are basically magic, gameplay-wise function as magic spells. And the game does show all kinds of locations that you will be eventually getting into going forward, and all that kind of basic gameplay foreshadowing. Which is, well, completely understandable. But the visual style and even the music tells of extremely, you could say, tormented realm. And of course, Penitent 1 also can use the bile flasks to yeah, and that was a collectible you can find in the game. Cherubs flying around. Nothing unusual about that. All kind of little, here's collect stuff for you to find, bonus stuff. All gameplay functions. But the style they have been made is just great.
There is no answer to our plea. The miracle has forsaken us, and my ornate throne turns its back on those who await here.
And this, now it shows the world map. You can zoom it away. All these golden lines tell that, yeah, you got on this far, and open lines tell that you haven't gone there yet. It's quite big. And there's no, and Albedo, where I've just arrived, is something like a hub city, that you're gonna pay a lot of visits to here.
Sorrowful be the heart, Penitent One. Welcome to Albero, sanctuary to this humble brotherhood of the kissers of wounds. Few remain here who can still employ it, but Tirso is my name. There are few of us who still care for the sick and ailing. With devout kisses, we bless the wounds of those who seek our protection. Thus both we and they remain at the mercy of the miracle. Time outside these walls passes by strangely. In sundowns we need not contemplate. But if your penance happens to carry you under set skies, be so kind as to bring us some ingredients for our ointments. The will in the miracle shall show you which ones they are.
And Kisses of Wounds are basically a healing aligned religious sect or group. And also the penitent one has a rosary to which he can put different kind of beads, which of course gameplay wise give him basic all kinds of different upgrades. Nothing strange. And they all are, you could say,
Time outside thee, but if your pet sorrowful,
they are all established things and tropes and gameplay conveniences, but the style, this hardcore Spanish Catholic religion, is what makes this game very unique. And I'm finding all kinds of remnants to this. And I went to another area, desecrated system, but there's a crypt in here as well. Some of these places have these side rooms that you can get into, which are basically outside the map, and usually quite small, very small. And there's this one guy.
This lowly servant greets you, O penitent one. Welcome to the ossuary of all those who will be eternally remembered. My duty is none other than to provide shelter to each and every one of these skeletal remains that linger under these intangible veils of dust. It matters little how many years or centuries have passed. The bones speak to us through their creaking and grinding, and through their silence. But these remains need one another in order to reveal the truth they still guard within. Only together, in intimate brotherhood, will they achieve eternal rest. For this, they beg that you help them. Bring them before me, and in this way, we will uncover the truth that they have silenced.
And here you can get, and to this place you can gather specifically bone remains, which I just gave one.
Thank you for your help, O virtuous penitent one. Bring the bones before me, and we will uncover the truth that they keep silent.
And well, that one is a basically access way to gameplay functionally bonus boss. And suffice to say, it's a horrifying fight, even more than expected. And there's a altar for my guilt. The animation is actually quite nice. It's old-fashioned in style, but it's really good.
Penitent one, you who carry the painful guilt in your cracked hands. Lend it to us and alleviate our burden. Lend it to us and wipe away our tears. Because it is an act of penitence.
Yep, these beautiful visual style shrines are they're basically a power up. You get more damage from your sword, but the fact that they made this kind of little introductory animation for it really tells that the craftsmanship of this game, even though the gameplay was, this game uses tried and true methods.
Thou hast called upon the winch of the Order of the True Shrine. In this place, we gather the remains of those who were separated and forgotten, so we can grant them holy burial as our charitable rule prescribeth. Help us, these poor souls, O penitent one in silence. The Order blesses you.
Yeah. This city, like everything else in this game, looks absolutely beaten to hell by whims of angry god or miracle. And there's a dog. Aww. And I could say that myself, that if you can provide happiness or whatever you want to call it, without any kind of bad influence on you, without basically giving anything out of you to help to provide aid and happiness and all that kind of things, why you wouldn't? It would not cost you anything to be a good person in that kind of sense. So I would say that petting the dog in that occasion could be something like a show of penitent one being very devoted to the idea of making things better through his penance. But yeah, and there's this game has a lot of, basically you could say, nudity in it, but that doesn't mean anything that there would be any kind of, you could say, erotic aspect in these. For example, those are women carrying these huge statues, but you can see they are huge. They got huge amount of spikes and pain in them. So yeah, they aren't sexy at all. I think that's also a woman wearing a mask, or even if it's not, those wounds and sores don't make them particularly nice looking. And nudity itself could be basically something like a form of penance somebody might follow. They expose themselves to shame, and also the fact that it makes you weak and vulnerable when you are naked. But there's all kinds of enemies in here. Why they would be carrying swords and so hostile, I don't know. But Penitent One will smush them. It's his penance to get through, and those who would try to stop him from doing his penance will die, or better say, they can get a premature ending to their own penitent travel. Well, I'm still going forward because this is the one location I intend to show, and there's all kinds of big monsters and things around. So I would say that this game's, well, gameplay design is solid. There's nothing you could say bad, or you could say deliberately wrong choices in this game's design, at least in my books. But there's also, and you could say that after the basic designs have been made, the game's visuals take all the same, because they apply in everywhere. But now I have reached the Bridge of 3 Calvaries, because this would be the beginning of the very long and brutal path of penance. Bridge over this pit. And there's Deograss and this door.
Here lies the door, on whose bronze the ordeals of those chosen by the miracle are perpetuated. On it, for the art of these images to be worshipped and revered, ornamentation must take place. His sculpted holiness watches us, rigid, from on high. But it is the relief of the bronze that dictates who is worthy of passing under its adorned arch. Find the holy visages, and the bronze will know. For fickle are the wishes of the miracle.
Well, that would be the intro of the game. Go and kill. Gameplay wise, it would mean that go and kill the 3 bosses. Well, I'm not gonna show that because this game is ludicrously merciless. It's penance. It is penitent. It causes penance just to play through this game because of its absolute lack of any, basically much of, well, help about where you're supposed to be going and all that. And because the gameplay difficulty is so hard, it is hard to guess where you might be, what might be the actual proper direction. But I'm gonna skip to the end of Penitent One's pilgrimage to, well, he's doing a pilgrimage, so let's just cut right to the end, how it is that he's gonna go and deliver his final penitence. And here it is. The pathway, the ambulatory of His Holiness. Highest or second highest location of entire game, which has, when you look at the map size, very respectable amount of dimension in it. So I would say that this game is really good. So I'm gonna show how this final boss starts to fight. Because he is something like a, well, he is very big and important character. Maybe you could say he would be something like a pope in amount of prestige he has.
In my dreams, I heard your footsteps coming closer. In my dreams, I tried to talk to you and introduce myself. Guardian of the miracle and of the miracle banner, with great pain, I carry the emblem of the Father. I am the hands of bloodied skin. I am the eyes from which our mother gazes. But nothing I know of you, apart from your cold, nameless visage, apart from your calloused and wounded hands, apart from the mourning of your deaths. No, I know nothing of you. Only the miracle knows. Now may your sword full of guilt with mine of gold collide. Let them hurt and march in procession. I curse you forever in name. I bless you forever in death.
Yep. His Holiness Escribar. More like a representative of a some kind of combination of Pope and he went down real fast. Didn't even get a chance to attack, but that would be just the first phase.
You have shattered the mirror in which you saw me asleep. Now you see me awoken as the son of the true miracle.
A big dramatic shift. And I will skip to the end of this battle because this is gonna be a hard one. There's lots of damage and all that, and the sword swings about. And so, but basic idea is still the same, that you're gonna strike the sword and break it so that you can then battle against the face and hurt it. And all the while it keeps pummeling magic powerful prayers of death and destruction towards you. So, skipping to the end. It dies, showing its true form for a while. But with this, the penitent one is almost ready to finish his penance. And here we are.
You have freed his holiness from his afflicted torment, and now he walks by the old processions on the other side of the dream. The cradle of the grievous miracle, the final relic. The grail of blood and gold that emanated from the forehead of the Father as he silently lamented the moment of his blessed twisting. That first relic is here, at the top of the Ashen Mountain, next to the turned throne where His Holiness was kissed by a miraculous pain. And now, your final communion with the miracle awaits. Only you will be able to know how much of it has seeped into your guilty heart.
And now it would be the time to climb this mountain of ash. But before I will climb the mountain of ash after an edit, I will make my final statements that this is a damn good game once you start to actually think the setting and the visuals and how consistently they tell the story of Custodia, which is written with a V because letter U is actually a quite new addition to the Latin alphabet. For example, Latin is basically still the language of Catholic Church, and at least Romans did not have letter U. It's later addition, so it would make wise that the land would be written with B, despite being Custodia. Even though but as he is now wandering, it is time to follow the penitent one going up the mountain of ash and see what might be there.
Thus came the moment of final communion with the sword born of guilt. A last sacrifice in order to finish penance and break off with the ungodly will of the grievous miracle. But the plans of the miracle are capricious. Penance never ends, but changes, hurts, and condemns at will. There is no place for the penitent one on the other side of the dream. His place is here among us. He is the new father and the last son of the miracle. Recipient of our prayers forever and ever.
And thus shall your name be erased under the heavens.